One of the key things for the award for me is going to be about buying studio time. It's going to follow on from a number of projects that I've done this last year. The core one being a project called Afon. That started off as a film work but has expanded to be an installation at Spike Island, which opens in January. So the award really starts from the time when Spike Island finishes. So it's going to allow me a time to focus and actually think about what's been achieved through that exhibition, and then to begin to develop a new body of work from that, but also to return to some of the things that I've perhaps not had time to fully develop within my practice. I studied sculpture, and so the kind of core parts of my practice revolve around the ideas of sculpture, what is sculpture, and really kind of pushing sculpture to its limit. But I'm not primarily restricting myself to sculpture, and a major part of the research that I plan to carry out in the awards is research into the potential collaboration with some musicians. I've used film quite a lot in my work as a way to, as I say, expand upon the notions of what sculpture can be, and treat the film and the video very much in a kind of sculptural language, and treat it as I would a sculpture. The films have up to this point always been silent, and I'm very interested in bringing along music into that realm to develop those possibilities of what constitutes sculpture. One of the other main parts of the award alongside the musician is to develop these ideas of artist research, which are so critical to any artist practice, and the studio is always at the forefront of that. And there's works like the piece Practice Table that was in the Moston exhibition for We Have the Mirrors, We Have the Plans. And that is really, the idea of being called Practice Table is to expand the ideas of an artist practice and kind of lay out bare those workings, those ideas of sculptures that aren't quite finished, that haven't quite reached that full potential. And that's something that really I hope to develop to a full potential exhibition, you know, or even beyond that, through the artist studio and all of those little things that you find scattered around an artist studio, those photographs that get kind of tagged to a wall and stay there for 3 years, or the small sculptures that are made just kind of through passing of time and just in those moments of boredom. I'm very interested in that and how those ideas can be expanded and opened up into something that is perhaps not finished sculpture, but allows the viewer to enter into the works in order to work alongside the artist in completing the work through the kind of conceptual realisation through looking. I returned to Wales after finishing at the Slade in London, which was a very deliberate choice to base my practice in Wales. As I see it, it has been quite an important thing to be not only a practicing Welsh artist, but to be able to support the Welsh arts in that way through basing a practice here. Abergavenny was chosen as a location due to a number of practical reasons, but also its proximity to the Brecon Beacons and that Welsh landscape, which is actually very important in my practice. It may not be kind of at the forefront of it and obviously there, but through some kind of smaller works like It's Not What We Wanted But We'll Settle, which is a photograph of me making watercolours in the landscape. It's the kind of the tone, if you like, and the notion of the landscape, the atmosphere of the landscape that I think is and the Welsh landscape in particular is very important to my practice, and being in Abergavenny allows a closeness to that, and I'm able to, you know, go for a walk in the mountains, you know, whilst working in the studio, which is kind of really key for me. It's also in location of it being a small town, it actually allows me to access a lot of the things I need very easily. Having lived and worked in London, you can actually spend a day travelling across town to go and pick up some drawing paper that you need, whereas in Abergavenny there's a small kind of locally run store just 5 minutes up the road that I can pop into, which is kind of very key for me.